right, well, let's start by just reviewing the last game. Really not a lot different than how I felt after the game. We had played with a lot of good competitive team spirit. We showed more resolve than we ever had in the second half after a disastrous opening third quarter. Offensively, some good things, throwing the ball for 11 yards in attempt. The third downs were good, but it ultimately turned on our inability to run the ball, which was disappointing. We really struggled to block them, and I didn't think our runners ran very well. And the sacks and the turnovers, which are just devastating to any team. On defense, it was a very similar script as Alabama. Played pretty good, and then give up 5 just huge plays, and 3 of them in the fourth quarter, which was the difference in the game. And it all came down to either just poor execution of the defense or an inability to tackle a run. And we got to get better at those things. So, looking ahead here this week, I know there's a lot of talk about November and Tennessee in November and all those things, but we're not really playing November. We have Memphis next week, and all of our focus needs to be on Memphis. They're struggling the same way we're struggling. So it's 2 teams searching for a good win. And I expect them to play their best because they have a lot of Tennessee guys on the team, and I know they'll be ready to go. So it's important that we go out there and play 4 quarters and finish a game on the road, and that's what we'll be trying to do this week. On the injury front, not a lot came out of the game. Marcellus Teague and Daniel Lincoln are still day-to-day. We'll find out more this week. Montori Hughes still hobbling around with an ankle. That's why he's not playing much right now. Herman Lather seems to be okay. He's day-to-day. We'll keep working Nasir Oliver back in practice, but who knows how he is. I know everybody wants to talk about the quarterback situation, so let's go ahead and get that out. We're going to start Tyler Bray this week, and I just feel like that's the best thing for our team right now. I had a real good conversation with Matt, and Matt is a team guy. Matt's a high character guy. Matt's a competitor, and Matt's emotional. And he was very apologetic for what happened after the game. And I really respect the fact that he came to me and said that. And the decision, just as an aside, has nothing to do with confidence. It's strictly a business evaluation of our team and where we need to go. So I'm kind of putting that out as a separate issue because I know there's been a lot of talk about his comments after the game. But he's a competitor and he's emotional. And it's like I said earlier, I wouldn't expect a quarterback to be happy about getting pulled out of a game. But I do believe that he'll be a great team player, and we're going to need Matt. And I told him that. And it's not necessarily that Tyler has done everything he should do to earn a spot. It's just that's the decision we're making. And it may be 4 series into the game or 3 series into the game. We've got to go to Matt. So we'll just let the game dictate that and see how Tyler handles the starting role. That's about it on personnel. See if I missed anything that you guys are going to ask. Y'all go ahead. We'll go from there.
Derek, you said it felt right now to put Tyler in there. What is it? Can you kind of give us more on the evaluation that makes you feel that way right now?
Well, without going into too much detail, the facts are the facts. I mean, we won 2 games. Even though we showed some signs of doing a lot better things against a good team last week, we have a lot of sacks and turnovers. And that's not to say it's Matt's fault. But we just feel like we need to change things up to try to eliminate some of the bad plays that are happening. When you have the number of sacks that we've had and turnovers, even a extremely deep, experienced, talented team would be losing. So we can't afford to have anything like that.
In terms of Sims and the number of sacks, I know you've indicated that he's holding the ball too long. Do you think there are times that he's holding when he's got receivers open and he's not seeming to field well? Is that a part of it, or is it just you think in general?
I just think that I don't want to break down, why we're having. It's hard to say this is the reason why we're having this many sacks. I think there's times when a guy comes scot-free and we're not protecting the way we need to be. There's times when maybe a receiver doesn't look hot. There's times when we hold the ball, and maybe we hold the ball because for different reasons. Maybe it's because the receiver's not open. Maybe it's because we don't know where we're looking. There's a multitude of reasons. When you have this many sacks, it's hard to say it's one thing. But the fact of the matter is we're having it. And the first place you always turn to is the quarterback. We'll probably play Stone some at center of this game. It's time to start getting him integrated into the game. We didn't play him last week. We were just a little nervous about the snapping situation and probably should have played him. But this is where we were hoping to be about 6 weeks ago with James. But when Schofield went down, we just had to move him at guard. So that just slowed our whole development at the center position with James. So we're kind of starting over. We were last week, and we were just a little uncomfortable. He's a left-handed guy, and that doesn't sound like a big deal, but everything's the opposite when your hand's under the center, and that's. I'm not worried about his ability to block and get on the right guy and do a great job. It's just the execution of the snap. It's the fifth grade part of it, not the college part.
Derek, you play the game. How do you make this not become a divisive issue on the team? And did you get any input from any other guys on the team at all as far as making this decision on quarterback?
No. I try not to let our players evaluate the team and make personnel decisions. There's only one personnel director in our program, and that's me. Because if we have bad personnel decisions, I'm held accountable for it. So I think the important thing to do is be a good team member. And it's a lesson about the importance of being on a good team, that coaches coach and coaches make personnel decisions and players play and support each other and do the best they can. And as long as you keep those boundaries and respect each other's role, then it works out fine. So our players have been great about it the last 2 weeks, even though we played Tyler. I mean, it's hard to say it's a lot different now. I mean, we were throwing Tyler in there in the second quarter, first quarter sometimes. So they've handled it beautifully. They went out there and made plays for both quarterbacks last week. And Matt made some great plays. He really did last week. So I don't see a difference, and I don't anticipate one. But it certainly, if a team doesn't handle it right and the quarterbacks don't handle it right, it could be a problem. I've been a part of this in a lot of years. I really have, and you never like to be in this place. But we had it when we got to LSU. We probably had it 2 or 3 times at LSU. We had it at the Dolphins, at both years at the Dolphins. We had it at Louisiana Tech my first year. It's hard. But if you have a good team and you communicate what the issues are and why you're doing what you're doing, the team tends to move on.
Coach, obviously he's starting. Did you see Tyler grow up a bit and get more comfortable in that second half at South Carolina?
I think the more he plays, the more growth he's going to have. But you have growing pains that come with it. You saw it on the first play, or the second play of the second half. That's a bad growing pain. I thought it was pretty good how he responded. He didn't get affected by it. So that was good to see. And that's one of Matt's good qualities, not getting affected. Man, Matt got hit hard a couple of times. And he keeps coming.
Coach Jacquez Smith, do you have concerns about a 19-year-old being out at a bar at 2 in the morning getting fights?
Do I have concerns about it? Of course I would. It was my child. and Jacquez is like my child, but we don't have a curfew. We ask him to use good judgment, and he didn't use good judgment.
Was he hospitalized this weekend?
I don't really want to go into all the details of the incident. I think, what's been out is out, and it was an unfortunate incident. It was an isolated incident. It was an incident where Jacquez got a little emotional over a girl, and our players did the right thing to defuse the situation. And it's not any more complex than that. It's been happening since Adam and Eve, I guess.
How did Tyler handle the news and switch, and what did you learn from watching him go through practice as the number one guy this week?
He handled it like he handles everything I tell him. Yes, sir. Tyler, your house is burning up. Okay. I think I left a couple of things in there. It's a little bit of the issue with the snap count and calling the play. But that's a good quality of his. We'll see how he handles it this week. I just think it'll be business as usual. He's going to get in there and take the first snap instead of the second.
Is the plan just to play one quarterback, or Sims get a shot?
No, the plan's going to be exactly how I went into the South Carolina game, which was, let's see how he's doing. And I'm not, if he needs to take a few series to kind of catch his breath a little bit, we'll put Matt in and see how Matt does. So until, it's the same statement, until a quarterback says, Coach, you're an idiot for not playing me all 4 quarters, by his play, not his words, right? By your actions, then we'll just keep sorting through it. And neither of them's actions say, play me for 4 quarters. There's enough in both of their play to say, maybe you ought to put the other guy in a little bit. And so we're going to keep doing it until they perform at a level where we feel like we're really bad evaluators by playing the other guy.
Derek, would you use, I know it looks like a long shot at this point, but would you use a bowl game as motivation, or is that something you
Yeah, I think we're so far from that, John, that those kind of words shouldn't even be mentioned. We haven't won a game. What was the date? It was a long time. So, to me, it's let's go execute for 4 quarters and finish a game and win, and that's all we need to be concerned about. I've never been a play for. Maybe when we get to the last game, it's something we can talk about if we're in that situation. But right now, we're just trying to get it done.
Derek, you said you don't type up the depth chart, but it looks like Jansen's going to get
Type up the what?
the depth chart.
Oh.
But it looks like Jansen's going to get some work at punt returner this week. Just
Jimmy
talk about that
Be a
change.
good idea. Given that Gordon. Yeah, we'll put Jansen back there. And, Jansen's got a lot of ability. He's almost our best at everything, and we've tried to say, how can he help us most on special teams without taxing him so bad, because we can't rest him on defense. So you're constantly saying, how can we get Jansen to impact the game for us? Well, we've been using him on kickoff and punt coverage, which is a taxing play, both of them, because it's a full sprint, and he's helped us. We've contained some good returners, but now we're in a position where Eric's been really good, but he's muffed 2 punts, and we need to put somebody else back there, and we're not getting production at the position. So we'll make a change and see how Jansen does.
Has Jansen taken punts in practice?
Oh yeah, he's been there the whole time. He looks good moving around.